Yo, you want to see something cool? No? Well, I'm gonna do it anyway.
A while back, my friend group got the urge to play some Dungeons and Dragons. And although I've never played for a second in my life, being the controlling, superiority complex, main character syndrome having freak I am, I decided to be the Dungeon Master. I mean, I've seen how they do it in shows and movies. How hard can it be?
Really?
Let's rewind a bit to 2 years ago, when this urge really started. I was fresh out of a spooky bat soup disease, and all I knew how to do was eat hot chip and play Breath of the Wild. Thinking back, my favorite part about that game was the antagonist. If I'm going to be making my own world, I should start with that. And I love the whole corruption theme, so why don't I just steal that and act like I made it up? With that to go off, I have a baseline, and I love fantasy worlds, so making one shouldn't be that hard, right? Let's see. 30 years ago. Shit. Now's probably a good time to mention that I don't really know anything about D&D. I mean, I can infer that it has Dungeons and Dragons involved, and I've played Elden Ring, making me a sort of seasoned expert. But I should probably find a quick lore video. I mean, it's basically just a bunch of dudes LARPing with maps and dice, right? How much lore can there even be? Okay, that was way too much. How about I just ask my players the kind of game they want to play? I can shape the world around their characters and interests. Maybe listen to a few podcasts explaining the races and classes they chose, and then fill out the map with cities and countries based off of their backgrounds. You want to play a custom raccoon race artificer of the steampunk era? Yeah, man, fuck it. Furry Junkertown. You want to play a war-hardened human paladin with closeted racism? Yeah, we're gonna have some serious discrimination from the human cities. You want to play a fucking goblin pirate clown and then never show up for a session? Well, you know what? I'm not removing the Goblin Circus pirate ship. Thanks for the idea, nerd. Then you just sprinkle a little lore about the world's tragic backstory, and boom. Perfect, original story. And all the players have finished making their characters and are ready for the first session. I told them it'd be ready in probably a week.
That is the most didn't happen shit of all time. What a bunch of baloney. Actual horseradish.
Now I know what you're thinking. What could have possibly taken that long when you had everything already done? Well, a story is cool and all, but you can't really play a game with just a story. What is this, some sort of mental-based fantasy role-playing game? No. That's for little babies who know how to do things like manage their time appropriately. What I need is a real man's game, like the ones you see of people in bathrobes and war paint circled around a $4,000 table with detailed 3D maps, enemies, and figures. Problem is, I'm broke as shit, and everybody who wants to play is halfway across the country. And yeah, I could just screen share the maps over Discord and figure out how to roll the dice digitally, but that sounds like a lot of work, and it's not like people have already made any sort of tools to play this little role-playing game online or anything. So fuck it. I'll make the most in-depth, interesting, balls-to-the-walls game for D&D you have ever seen. So silly it'll knock the socks right off your fucking feet, wise guy. So anyways, I found this table on Tabletop Simulator that had everything I'll ever need and more. But this is another man's livelihood we're talking about. He poured blood, sweat, tears, and shit into this. Do you really think that I could just take that from him?
You bet your sweet Bippy I did.
Okay, I didn't actually rip it one for one. I probably spent like a week or two getting rid of a lot of the extra stuff and adding in little trinkets and things of that nature. But I am gonna lie to my group and tell them that this is what's been taking so long, because in reality I've just been procrastinating. But now that I have a physical table to play this at, and I have my story, I have my characters, I have encounters planned, I don't really have NPCs, but I'm just gonna wing it. I think I'm ready to really start. I've procrastinated for way too long already. And my players are starting to doubt if this game will ever actually happen. So, without further ado... Our tale begins in a... No, I'm just fucking with you. Our tale begins in a caravan of merchants and travelers, making their way from a small port town in the south country of Asterisk. Their destination? I forgot the name. To the north. It's here that our ragtag group of adventurers and rookies meet for the first time.
Her name is Ponwell, and she's a water genasi.
You see this this little raccoon man.
He is a human paladin, an ex-soldier.
I was a poor little gay fairy and was taken in by a criminal organization.
I am Bruktar Nagar. Yeah, I know.
That last name.
You see, he is a...
One of my flaws is I'm scared of gay people.
Yeah, Calamity Ganon. He fought Calamity Ganon.
This is just Breath of the Wild.
No, it's not. I called it the Beast because everybody kept calling it Calamity Ganon.
Along the way, our members get attacked by a group of bandits, which they immediately murder on sight. They leave one alive to interrogate it, but proceed to knock it out after getting zero information or really trying at all.
I want to fucking shoot this guy in the fucking head.
They then tie it to the wagon and drag it however many miles to the next city, which they completely forget about upon arriving in said city.
What are you doing after all this?
Huh? Well, Raymond and I are going to pawn off some of this cheap armor and shit that we took off of. Actually, what did we do with the guy?
And just left him tied there in the mud. It's here that our group really starts to get a feel for the world around them.
What are your guys' plans in this town, or really anywhere?
My all-time dream is to get a big old gun and a war elephant, and I get to kill.
I mainly just want to find my family, fix our relationship.
Just try to help anybody.
Sounds like no one really has a big plan for the future, so why don't we all
What do
just
you mean a big plan? I'm a fucking war elephant, man.
You hear in the distance it sounds like the inn has forgotten to change the batteries on their smoke detector.
And finally, Elias, what about you?
When they arrive at the local adventurers guild, they decide to form a party.
To take a contract, you're gonna need to form a party. The king doesn't allow parties smaller than 5 members.
Well, how convenient.
I see you already have the 1 human requirement. That's good, And,
I'm sorry, the what?
And after some interesting encounters...
They are kids, by the way. And
They are kids. 40 go. I shoot.
do you?
They receive a tip that the bandits who attacked them are actually part of a larger group in the near area.
There's been this gang of bandits nearby called the Woodland Brotherhood.
Sounds like a neo-Nazi group.
And they... Goblins, kobolds,
and bandits and normal humans. Yeah. I ran into a couple.
Yeah.
You guys should have brought one here. We pay 1 gold per head.
Don't know what happened to him.
No, he fell off. We just didn't care to grab him. He's just kind of
You
drowning
saw
in mud.
him fall off and didn't think to tell me?
He's scary.
You were pointing a gun at him.
As you can expect, my lovely bunch of murder hobos immediately set out for war in this nighttime stealth ambush Mission Impossible Camp Heist Extravaganza 2 world tour, which does start pretty well before immediately devolving into madness.
Perhaps you can sneak into the trees.
Yeah, I'm waiting to make my move.
So
So-
I'm thinking we can approach and be like,
Intimidate
"Oh
them.
there," and try and talk to them.
Oh.
Right next to the guy that you fucked up earlier.
Wait. Oh, it's so great to see you.
The bard and cleric do a pretty cool you get the left, I get the right on a bridge before failing to use a single spell effectively, while the paladin, who has way too much armor class for level 1, tanks a royal ass whooping, but is unable to land a single hit to save his life.
A 1 and a 4.
Damn, you do not hit. This is the weirdest combat.
and the others are running around barely managing to pull through by the skin of their teeth. Sound familiar?
Could somebody roll a stealth roll for me? I'm making a sandwich right now.
So he takes 3 damage.
Okay,
And dies.
He is
from an insult.
fucking. What do you say to him?
And I just want to whip out my pistol and shoot him in the foot.
And your encounter is over.
And let me tell you, it was scuffed. It was awkward. It was confusing at times.
You have advantage on this attack.
Reading the rules wasn't something I'm known for, and we're certainly no actors.
I found this online, I'm sorry, man.
But there was a charm in that you wouldn't have otherwise. And all the tiny details I had been dreading over were completely irrelevant.
See what we've got here. We've got Japan in the top right here.
I realized you can never really plan for what your group will try. Like the party's resident furry immediately wanting to seek narcotics upon reaching town.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Or when you realize you have hardly any NPCs for the areas your players actually decided to go and not this little headcanon you had going on.
If you're going to the next city that hasn't been named yet.
And you just kind of have to yes and your way through the entire session. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Making this was the most fun I'd had in a long time. I did put a decent amount of work into little things I found online and making things streamline and hiding little funny Easter eggs. I also have the footage of session 1, so maybe I'll make like a highlight reel or just something to show off. Worst case, I'll just wing it.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, I guess.
I'm gonna let you do anything you want to me sexually.